Well, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about BCHG and LTCN today. We're going to talk about two Grayscale trusts. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, okay? Shout out to Jesus Shalom. We're talking about this for you, my friend. You requested it. We're doing this for you. Here you are at $3.90. I checked the Grayscale. I did this so that we didn't have to burn our retinas. I checked the Grayscale NAV price for BCH, and it is at about $3.56. You're at $3.90 now. I think the worst outcome has become realized with these recent weeks, with the recent news with Litecoin. I think it's everything that we feared to assume back here, right? Which I say feared. I feared to assume, meaning I did not assume it. I was thinking that it wouldn't happen, but we've got an LTC ETF that's not approved yet, but it likely will be approved. Whenever it comes to what Grayscale Trust is going to be next on the chopping block, BCHG would likely be it, right? You're probably going to get a Bitcoin Cash ETF before you get a Horizon ETF, a Chainlink ETF, name any crypto that, or any kind of other Grayscale trust we have, Mana ETF, right? Zcash, any and all of them. This would probably be next on the chopping block. And Grayscale has publicly announced since the beginning of 2024 that they would convert all, probably even in 2023, they'd convert all of their Grayscale trusts into ETFs if they were able to, if the government allowed them to, if the SEC allowed them to, right? So we're at $3.90 now. I think that this whole dilemma, this whole reason why you're seeing lower lows and Bitcoin Cash is only seeing higher lows, not higher highs, but higher lows, is because the sad reality is, yeah, these ETFs are probably going to come true. I don't know if BCHG gets an ETF. I don't know if BCH gets an ETF this cycle. It could happen. To be completely fair, Bitwise, the BitW ETF, includes 10 cryptos. It's a 10 crypto ETF. We're getting the announcement of the approval or rejection or pushing it back to a later date on March 3rd. And March 3rd is the deadline date for that ETF announcement. Let's do this if we're talking, right? March 3rd would be the deadline for the Bitwise 10 crypto ETF, which includes Bitcoin Cash in it. Likely they come up with that decision before March 3rd. The SEC doesn't normally make decisions on deadline day. Sometimes they do. It happens. It's what Bitcoin's ETF. That's how it happened with Bitcoin's ETF. But oftentimes it's actually a week before or even weeks before. I hear they like Tuesdays to make announcements, right? Stuff like that. So just for a little reference there. And if Bitcoin Cash, it's not a complete ETF by itself, but if it's included in this 10 crypto basket ETF, it's just a matter of time before Bitcoin Cash gets its own ETF, in which case the BCHG community, traders, market makers, people who decide where the price should go, whatever, they might be like, okay, well, if it's on a 10-part ETF, it's just a matter of time before it gets its own ETF. So you're not going to see this thing stray from the NAV price, or at least grow to insane premiums like we saw earlier in the cycle, or like what we saw last cycle. Okay, so there's the bad news. Let's get to the good news. It can't really go too much lower than this, right? If it does, 356 is probably the lowest you go, right? That's probably it, is the lowest you go, is at 356, because that's your NAV price. If you go on a discount, that's an insanely good buying opportunity. I might buy actually some Grayscale, because if it's on a discount and the whole scare is that there's going to be an ETF, if it's on a discount, then that means that you would actually gain more buying BCHG at a discount than you would buying BCH at its actual price, right? Does that make sense? Because if this is going to get an ETF, it's going to track Bitcoin Cash, which means if you buy it at a discount before it gets tracked back to its NAV price, you're actually winning. But so there's a little positive in that note for you. Generally, in this kind of fib context, I would think you're going down to your 618 golden ratio zone, but I don't think you're going to go that low, mainly because, again, your NAV price would stop you well in your tracks, like right here. And then also, if Bitcoin Cash, let's just see here, BCH USD. What are you doing? Let's look at the 4-hour. Delete all these lines. What are you doing here? 428. Hit that like button, you guys. Subscribe if you haven't, by the way. Let's see here. I think BCH moves up, yeah. Where did it close yesterday? So Friday probably closed here. Bitcoin Cash would have to get back above like 444 if we don't want to see BCHG open up next week to the downside. And I assume Bitcoin Cash could do that. It definitely could move up. We'll see. We'll see how it goes, but it could. If not, maybe you go a little bit lower and then up, but I think you're near your low for BCHG and you will start moving higher. Here's the other part of the good news. Okay, here's where we're gonna make sense out of this. Why you're not totally forgotten or forlorn here, even though the price is basically at its NAV price. Why I still expect not only you will see new relative highs here, but new all-time highs overall. If we go to BCH here on a monthly time frame, and I know I have the ribbon, so it's a little bit extra noise, but I'm just going to keep it on there for fun. I expect, from this current price, I expect that BCH sees targets anywhere from about 13K at a minimum by the end of this cycle, okay? And the reason for that is high to low here. You've got your 1272 right there, so about a 30x, okay? And then at a maximum, what I'm kind of expecting is a 23 to 25K price, which is about a 53x, okay? So if BCHG tracks Bitcoin Cash, well, that would put it at its NAV price, right? So it'd be at about $3.56, basically right there. If it were to move up a 30x puts you all the way up like right there. It's about the same growth for the 13K price for BCH. That would put you at a price of $108, well above your current all-time highs in the BCHG trust, well above there. And that, by the way, was in reference to the minimum target. The minimum target. That's also in reference to the idea that BCHG gets an ETF, which isn't conclusive. There's no BCH ETFs that have been filed. The only one is that 10 crypto basket Bitwise ETF, okay? And even then, that wouldn't be enough, in my opinion, to revert this back to its NAV price, but maybe the scare of BCHG being literally the next one on the chopping block, being that LTCN, GSOL, and ETH and Bitcoin itself all seem to be, I mean, Bitcoin and Ethereum, obviously they have their own ETFs, but these other ones, they seem like they're going to have ETFs approved as well. So BCHG would be next on the chopping block. Even in the wake of all this stuff, you're still likely going to see new all-time highs. Okay. If you don't have an ETF, well then, if Bitcoin Cash moves here, you're going to get a premium of which grows larger than that. So you'd see even higher targets, right? We don't even know if an ETF is going to get approved for this, but I think maybe by the end of the year we could see one. Wasn't expecting it, right? But it could happen, especially if it gets included in a 10 basket ETF. It's just a matter before all those coins in that 10 basket ETF get filed for individual ETFs too, right? That's normally how it happens anyways. You go from like your main kind of products in a niche sector, they get their individual ETFs, and then you basket them. Then you put them together, and then the ones that are basketed, they get individualized again, and round we go. Anyways, it's not always that cut and dry, but just thinking out loud here, that would be the minimum target. BCH here, going all the way up to the 1414. That's at about a 53x. 53x. That would put BCHG at about $190, $180. So your minimum target is about $100. Your maximum target would be about $190 by the end of this cycle for BCHG. So even though shit sucks right now, guys, even though you're not going to get the premium, and even though the private placement sales has hurt this thing, the ETFs are hurting this thing, and it's been very lackluster since September. I mean, technically since April, right? But it's just, this was kind of more or less expected. I didn't call the bottom perfectly, right? I thought we were at the low here, but more or less we expected a correction. What we didn't expect was after this correction, we would keep correcting. That's not what we expected. So when I say lackluster from here, I mean we haven't gotten what we expected. But even in the wake of all this, BCHG, without a doubt, in my opinion, it's going to see new all-time highs by the end of the cycle, right? With or without the ETF, it's inevitable. It's going to. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's look at the LTCN chart, okay? LTCN, a little bit of a lower low. Now, here's the deal, guys. I actually don't know what the Grayscale LTCN NAV price is, so burn your retinas. Here we are. All right. NAV price 1077. You're at 10. Oh my goodness. You're at a discount. Wow. Okay, so LTCN's at its low, guys. That's at a low. A lot of volume came in at the low. Definitely the low. You're definitely bouncing. Okay, so that's great. That's good. So LTC sucks that LTCN dropped as much as it did while LTC's pumping. But yeah, LTC. I doubt LTC corrects too much. Likely LTCN, you bounce here. Yeah, you're at a discount now. Technically, guys, LTCN is at a better price to buy than LTC, because likely you're going to get an ETF with LTCN, right? We don't know. It's not certain, but likely you do. They're just passing them out these days, man. We got a very crypto-friendly administration. Gary Gensler's out of the office. 1077 on NAV price. By the way, quick little side note. Everybody, I'm going to do this without the burning retina screen, okay? Quick little side note. Everybody hates on Gary Gensler, and they say it doesn't make sense that he hates crypto so much. And he used to teach college classes on crypto before he got in his position in the SEC. But if you think about it, right? It wouldn't make sense that he hates crypto because he knows about it. He knows about Bitcoin. He taught classes on it where he was very pro-crypto. It wouldn't make sense that he hates crypto. So maybe he knew, and maybe he understands the true kind of purpose of crypto, which is to be peer-to-peer decentralized cash and not be an instrument of the financial institutions to take advantage of people all over the world and have complete dominance and control over, right? Maybe that's why we never got a Bitcoin ETF, or it took so long to get these ETFs with Gary Gensler. Maybe he was actually, quote unquote, protecting the crypto community. It's not a popular opinion, but I tend to err on the side of contrarianism. If everybody just blindly agrees they hate this person, I'm thinking, well, maybe there's a reason why we should like him. The truth is, guys, I think ETFs are actually not good for crypto. It's a reason to pump. It's a bullish narrative, but it's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. They want you to believe that you need an ETF for Bitcoin to go to $1 million. That's not the case. Bitcoin, crypto, you guys, it's going to grow without the financial institutions. That's the whole point of crypto, is that we don't need financial institutions. So I think Gary Gensler actually, as much as people want to hate on him, he kept Bitcoin as pure as he could, technically, without having an ETF. Because all ETFs are paper Bitcoins, which is exactly opposite of what Satoshi Nakamoto had envisioned for crypto. But I'm on a whole different tangent here, okay? This thing, you're at 1077 now. I doubt you go lower because you're at 1061. Likely it's at a better price to buy, because if it just tracks Litecoin, which I assume it will, it's going to track Litecoin probably for the rest of the cycle, you're at a better price to buy, which means to catch up, you're going to have to move up just a little bit more. It's very appetizing at these prices, but you probably don't get to buy at these prices next week. You probably have a gap up or something. So this is the low for LTCN. Good job. That's nice. And, good job. And at the same time, bad job. It's been very lackluster. In which case it might not even be appropriate to really gauge off of LTCN. Let's look at LTC itself. I'm expecting LTC to do anything from a $2,500 move at a minimum to about a $5,600 to $7,800 move at a maximum, and potentially even higher than that. I shouldn't even say maximum. 19, 20x almost right there. LTCN, if you were to do a 20x, because you're basically at your NAV price now. So again, this is your minimum move. That would take you to about $218. That, unfortunately, is not new all-time highs, but still dramatically higher than even the highest point here. Even if you bought at $54, you're still making money at that point, right? Though if you bought up here, you probably should have sold at the end of the year to just claim losses at the very least, right? But anyways, hold on. Okay. So that's your minimum target. Maximum target, or again, I shouldn't even say that, because you could, I don't know, guys. LTC could really see some crazy price. We could see 100x in LTC this cycle. It's got a lot of pent-up aggression, man, and people underestimate it. That is the perfect concoction of a bullish move. Oh, LTC can't do that, dude. It's done this move already. It's done shit like this already. So you're at 130 now. Minimum target we already did. I'm not going to do the absolute moon boy maximum target, but let's do another kind of higher target that might even be quote unquote realistic. 44x to a 60x. 44 to 60. So put you there. 44x. Come on, that's about right there. Perfect. And then a 60x is not too much higher. Right there, basically. Just a little bit lower than that. Okay. So your end of cycle predictions, my end of cycle predictions for LTCN, not financial advice, just my genuine opinion based off of Litecoin probably getting an ETF approved, and therefore Grayscale converting their LTCN trust into an ETF, which they've already announced they want to do and that they intend to do. So $10 now. Minimum target is a 22x from here. Maximum target is a 65x from here. Anything from $220 to $651 will do. And that's all I got for you guys. It's very unfortunate It is very unfortunate, but I hope every single person who bought in Grayscale Trust understands that in the wake of misfortune, there's something to take away still, right? You all learned a very valuable lesson, which is that you should, if you're going to invest in a highly speculative asset class, you should probably not invest in derivatives. This is not me trying to rub it in your face. I feel bad, man. I thought I was literally, the whole cycle was prepared to be insanely jealous of the Grayscale community. I was prepared for it, man. I thought I would. I'd be this guy who was like, yeah, it's too risky. I would seem like a Warren Buffett type. And then you guys are sitting on your multi-hundred X's and I'm just sitting on my measly 30 to 50X. And unfortunately, that's not how it happened. But hopefully, the silver lining to this is you can take a lesson away from this. And unfortunately, you know what the truth is? I'm not the wisest person in the world, right? I didn't say this. I didn't say that Grayscale Trust derivatives are riskier than the native asset for no reason. I said that because I've been in this same situation, not with Grayscale Trust, but with other things, with other derivatives. Derivatives suck. They're great. They're great if you're a trader. They're great because you can make money, a lot more money on them than the native assets, but they're way more risky. And when it comes to crypto, when it comes to any kind of asset that's already risky, why add more risk? When it comes to an asset like crypto where you can see tens of X's, hundreds of X's, why add more risk, right? So hopefully the best thing that you can take away from these Grayscale trusts is not just the gains that you will inevitably see. They're coming. I don't care where you bought. If you sold, you're not going to get the gains. But if you're holding, they're coming. They absolutely are coming. What was I going to say? I got distracted there. I can't remember. But basically, it was on the lines of just saying that this is a very important lesson to kind of keep in mind, right? That's not me rubbing it in your face. That's me saying, man, I've been there. I've been there. And that's why this is what I was going to say. I don't invest in derivatives at all, period. I barely mess with options. I do a lot of spot trading. People think that you need options or leverage to make money. The people that lose money use that stuff most of the time. Most people who lose money in this game do that. The people who do spot trading, you can make plenty of money spot trading. You do not need to add derivatives to the mix. And I'm just going to end it on that note. I hope you guys are all doing well. I hope you're all finally ready for some upside because it's coming finally. I think February will be a sigh of relief for the whole Grayscale and crypto community. It's going to be good. It's always darkest just before the dawn saying is coming to my mind. I got nothing else for you guys. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Thank you all for being here. And yeah, I think LTCN is about to rip. I think BCHG could go a little bit lower, but it's about to rip as well. So